Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. We've got Biggie, we've got Rudo. It's Spirit Week here at DNVR, and that means we have a mystery guest for the day. Can you guess who it is? You've got exactly 5 seconds before I reveal it, if you haven't already guessed. It's Tony Granato, former head coach of the Colorado Avalanche, former NHL player, coach for the Olympics for Team USA. Quite the rap sheet you've got. First of all, thank you for coming on. We always appreciate you making it out here. It's been a season so far. Game 6 tonight. Tony, who you got? You got Florida taking the Cup Finals, or can Edmonton make the comeback?
You know what? Every time I pick a team, they lose. So I probably, like most of the hockey experts, I'm assuming Eric and you guys and Rudo, you're on the same page here. Florida's just too good. They are. And I know Edmonton has so many weapons, and you think that McDavid is going to win a game or 2 games, and you got Draisaitl and all this and that. But I just think that Florida just knows how to win, and they make the other team doubt that they have a chance to win. I think they put an exclamation point on what that means as far as suffocating the other team when they get opportunities to. So, I mean, I guess it could happen, but I would be a little bit surprised if Edmonton isn't not only able to come up with a win tonight, but to follow it up and win a Game 7. Eric, help me, please.
We're saying the same thing. Just so you know, I mean, Rudo's been saying that. I'm saying the same thing. I thought it might have been the year of McDavid, Draisaitl. I don't know. You know, can they do McDavid, Draisaitl things and take over Game 6 and 7? Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? But I can't see it. I just can't see it. First of all, Bob is too good in my book. I mean, this guy's so good. So I think that our good old friend there, Sly Lefebvre, is probably
gonna do it again.
They're gonna do it again. I mean, that's what I think. But I want to ask you a question when it comes down to the finals, and I'm gonna pick, bring some bad feelings again. 1993, you're a player, you lose the cup. I never lost. I never went to the finals. So, in my whole lifetime, what's it like? Do you get over it, or is it just something that lasts with you forever? Not to be.
I think
just a fair question.
No, it's a fair question. It's one that I think about often because, when you were a kid, and we all were the same. We dreamed of playing in the NHL. What we really dreamed of is having that one moment where you could hug that cup, give it a kiss, lift it up into the air, and drink out of it. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. That's every hockey player's dream, is to have that cup in your hand or get your name on it. So when you come that close, it hurts. But I guess reflecting back on it, and the more I think about that team, as you get older, the more proud you become of being part of it. Because, you come that close, you flip a coin, there's lots of things. I'm going to just flat out tell you right now, Patty Waugh was the difference in the series. And Kelly Rudy played great in our net. He was great the whole playoffs to get us to the finals. But Patty Waugh made those saves in overtime. We had 3 overtime games in a row in Game 2, 3, and 4 that we lost, that Patty made a spectacular save to assure a victory for Montreal. So, I mean, I look back at the team again. I still think you can, even though you don't win a Stanley Cup, you can still think of your teammates and that team as a championship team, and that's what I try to do.
Nice.
Thanks.
I can't say that because I've never been there. So, somebody asked me the other day. I was like, well, I don't know. I think I'd be devastated, but it just never happened.
Devastated for a while. You're so beat up at the end of the run. Like, that's these players, if this season ends tonight, tomorrow morning, the team that wins is going to be able to celebrate and find ways to get excited about going to parties and all this other stuff. But the team that loses is going to be so beat up, they're going to barely be able to get out of bed tomorrow morning to go down and have breakfast with their kids. It's just all of a sudden it comes to an end. You realize and you accumulate what your body feels like, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just played 20-some playoff games feeling like I just did. I could never play another game. And Linda will tell you this for sure. My wife, after about the last 6 seasons of getting beat up in the final game of the season, you lose and you're down and you're exhausted and you're like, that's it. I'm retiring. I can't do this again. There's no way I could put myself through this grind again. And then a week later, I'm better, hon. I feel good, man. I'm ready for next year. So, but it really is. You leave and Eric, you played with every ounce of energy, and you left everything on the ice every single shift. So you know what I'm talking about. At the end of the season, if you were a pro and a great pro and somebody that your teammates loved, you had zero left in the gas tank. You gave everything you had to try to win. And that's why when that day comes and that season ends, you kind of realize, oh my gosh, I did what I needed to do as a professional athlete, as a teammate, but man, oh man, I am on fumes. So that's what I know both these teams will feel like tomorrow. If Florida does win, they'll find ways to celebrate. They're champions. I mean, they did it last year. They went to the finals the year before. They've had lots of players playing these international tournaments over the past couple of years. I mean, it's an incredible group of professionals, winners, gamers, whatever you want to call them. This is a special team.
I gotta ask. I think I know the answer for most North Americans, but we just had the first 6 players announced for most of the rosters for the Olympics. You went as a player. You also went as an assistant coach and a head coach. Stanley Cup, Olympic gold. What do you think is the bigger prize for a hockey player or coach or in the hockey world?
I mean, I would have taken either one and been awful happy.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I think, I mean, if you have a chance to win and play in the Olympics, you're going to say in that moment, hey, winning the Olympic gold would be the greatest, hockey treasure I could ever have. When you're playing in a Stanley Cup playoffs, you're thinking the same way about the Stanley Cup. I don't think I have a good answer for that. I'd say that the people and the players that have been able to do both, you remember Kenny Morrow did it in the same year. He actually won an NCAA tournament, I believe, an NCAA tournament, a Olympic gold, and then decided to go play for the Islanders and win a Stanley Cup all in the same year. So you talk about a guy that was a sensational hockey player, but on 3 spectacular teams in a 12-month span. I mean, that's the trifecta right there.
And not only did he do that, but he kept going with the next 3 years as a Stanley Cup champion as well.
Yeah, what the heck? Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why? I since we got you on, and obviously for our viewers, that don't know you, you do a lot of broadcast work with the Blackhawks, and CHGO being one of our sister, whatever you want to call that, partners over there in the Chicago market. Like, what can we expect about the Hawks a little bit in a nutshell? With obviously, where's Bedard going, and the new coaching staff, and all of the above.
So I'm optimistic. I know this year, again, was one of those years where the fans were kind of hoping that progress means getting more points and getting closer to the playoffs. That didn't really happen. What they saw was the development. I'm going to give you one player that was really special. Started in the minors, played till Christmas in the minors, Frankie Nazar. He came up. He won the gold medal in the U.S. for the U.S. in the World Championships just a few weeks ago. This kid gives them a secondary piece up front, which I didn't know they had. So Forsberg, Sakic, Crosby, Malkin. Everybody seems that superstars, McDavid, Draisaitl, you have a partner with you for the ride. And I didn't know the Blackhawks had somebody in the organization that you could say could complement Connor Bedard as he progresses and grows, to where someday those two could be that 1-2 punch that could help them win and be competitors for cups moving forward. So being 21 and being Connor just turning 20 this year. You got two pieces that, I think are really important. So that, I think, is the biggest excitement from the Blackhawks season. The Rinzel kid that got called up from Minnesota. Now you have two number one Ds, because Levshunov, who showed and teased you a little bit of what he was going to be in the future, was a guy that looks like he can be a number one D. And then Rinzel comes out of college. I've never seen a kid come in that poised and that confident and make the game look so easy as he did. So I think, you can build around the guys I just mentioned. You got Vlasic and a bunch of other pieces as well of young players. So there's optimism. I'm not telling you they're going to make the playoffs next year. I still think that would be a stretch. But I would love coming to the games if I was a fan to see all these young guys grow and develop and mature, because in 3 or 4 years, you're probably looking at a similar type of team as Kane, Taves, Seabrook, and Keith and Crawford were when they were, young kids. So I like it. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully, Jeff Blashill and his staff, I think they did a really good job on the hire there. I know David Carl was the targeted guy that everybody thought was going to be the next Blackhawk coach. But when that fell through, I think they actually were pretty fortunate to recognize that Jeff Blashill was somebody I think that could grow with this team. He just spent his years with Tampa, his last few years, learning under John Cooper. I think the experience that he had in Detroit and what he learned there, as well as in Tampa, I think is really going to help him set up for a nice ride with the Blackhawks.
You mentioned David Carl. You had the chance to go head-to-head with him a few times when you were coaching at Wisconsin. Is the NHL coaching gig in his future? Is that coming for him? I obviously didn't work out with Chicago this offseason, but do you think that jump will get made eventually for him?
I do. I think there were multiple teams that called him after the Blackhawks did to try to say, hey, you passed on the Blackhawks. What do you think about our job? And I think he's just was set in his ways that he's got it too good at Denver right now. He's committed to the kids that he recruited. He feels an obligation there. They were really good to him on bringing him in and supplying him with all they did to help him win this championships. So I think he will get there. I think he's not in his own mind ready for that move yet. He was certainly offered a whole couple truckfuls of cash and whatever else he wanted to leave, and he was able to hold his ground and say, you know what, I still love my job here in Denver. I still want to be part of the Pioneers' future success. But they'll be banging on his door. I know I had a chance to cover him at the World Junior Tournament this year in Ottawa, and I really got a good feel for how and why he has success. He's a great communicator. He is not afraid to make hard decisions. He had Cole Eiserman on the fourth line. He had as an extra forward one night, and the guy came up and made the big play to help him win the game. So he was able to communicate with this kid that probably if another coach said, hey, you're in this position, the kid might not have, shown up to play as far as being ready for the role that he was asked to do. And so I think he's just got a special quality there, finding ways to get the most out of his players, even if it's not the situation that the player wants to be in. I think he does a good job on convincing and being able to get the kid motivated to play at a level that's needed to win. And that's why the U.S. team won, and that's why he's won at Denver as well.
I know you want to go to your obviously your little pause there, Rudo, but I want to ask you a question right after those ads Rudo has to go through. But I want to ask you a technical question about coaching and when it comes down to the Avs upcoming year. Somebody in chat was mentioning it, but I wanted to ask about it, so okay. I'll let Rudo do his thing, and then we'll jump right back on this one.
Yep, I have a few coaching questions too, but we'll hit our ads here. First is, this show is brought to you by Mando. As he likes to say in hockey, it's all about butts and elbows, and Mando comes in clutch for those things too. They are more focusing on, keeping you smelling good and feeling right when it comes to your pits, your belly buttons, your butt cracks, your grundles, and more. That's where Mando has you covered. Make sure you're using code DNVR to get $5 off your starter pack at Mando. You can get a bunch of different products, but the starter pack comes with 4 different items, a cream tube deodorant, a stick deodorant, and 2 items of your choice to make sure you're staying fresh and clean, including things like wipes or other options to smell right. You can jump in with a bunch of different scents, including bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. And again, get $5 off that starter pack and free shipping with code DNVR. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Jump in with it. Head on over to shopmando.com and use that DNVR code. It's SHOPMANDO.com. Use the DNVR show code today. It supports us. Let them know we sent you over there. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. And once you're smelling good, feeling good, maybe go throw a bet down on the Cup Finals. It could end today. You can make some money on it with Bet365. Sign up with code DNVR365 today. Bet365, an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche, too. So jump in with them. If you go in and bet, you can put $10 in your account with code DNVR365. Bet $5 on anything. Win or lose, you get $150 in bonus bets. So that's just free money to play with over at Bet365. Highly recommend you get in with them, even if it's not hockey or the Cup Finals you're betting on. You got the NBA Finals, you got baseball going all summer long, whatever it might be. Bet365 has it all. So jump in with them. Again, use that DNVR365 code. Get up to $150 in bonus bets. They can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Of course, when you do gamble with Bet365, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast with our mystery guest, Tony Granato. Tony, you've navigated the murky waters of head coaching, assistant coaching jobs. The Avs are in need of an assistant coach, likely working on their power play at present. 1, are you available? 2, can you kind of speak to how these things come to fruition, especially with assistant coaching jobs? How do teams come to decisions about who they want for a position like that?
Well, I can tell you right now, it's a very important position, and I think that the responsibility of coming in and having the power play is your number one. And if I'm a coach and I'm available, I would be there in 1 second, because you're gonna have a chance to work with McKinnon and Makar and lots of other high-skilled guys there. So it's a dream job for any coach. So I'm assuming that anyone that doesn't have a seat on a bench right now is hoping that they get a call, or hoping that they're the guys. So I think that, and this is an opinion, Nathan McKinnon is one of the easiest guys to coach and one of the most difficult guys to coach. One of the easiest because he gives you every ounce of energy, and he is an elite, if not one of the top, 1 or 2 forwards in the league. And on any given night, he can win you games. But he's also on that competitive side that you have to know how to handle him, how to communicate with him, how to understand him. Some of the, and I'll just go back to Peter Forsberg. I got a chance to coach Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, Milan Hajduk. And then you go to Pittsburgh and you got Crosby and Malkin and Letang and Fleury. And then you go to Detroit, I got Datsuk Zetterberg and those guys. So when you coach superstars, there's a different, I don't want to say challenge, but you have to understand they're not like anybody else. You can't talk to them. You can't try to understand them like you would a third or fourth line player. You have to give them the opportunity to share with you what they're thinking and kind of be able to communicate them at a different level than you would the rest of the team. And that's just the way it is. That's a fact. If you want to treat those guys like the other players on your team, you won't last very long. I promise you that. They have to be given a different style of coaching than the normal player. So from that standpoint, just finding that right assistant, to me, he has to have had experience with another star like McDavid, like Crosby, somebody else. I think that would really help him on knowing and understanding and learning from what he learned from on coaching those other guys. That's what I think. That's what I learned more from those players. Just sitting back, watching them and trying to watch them get ready for games, listening to them talk on what they saw as you're watching video with them on things that I never would have, thought to look for. So it's a special thing. But again, you got to be willing to learn as a coach what it's like to be Sidney Crosby, what it's like to be Pavel Datsuk. and in this case, what it's like to be Makar and McKinnon. And once you get that down and you figure that part out, and you got respect for each other because you're working together, you're not working for, or he's not working for you. It doesn't work that way. You're working together to try to make it work. I think that they'll find somebody, and you got a great head coach there, and I think that he's going to recognize and understand that that's an important piece to adding to the staff, and I'm looking forward to see who that is.
The guy who had
I got a quick
point per game season too, by the way. Just saying that if you're learning that much from a star, you were a pretty all right player yourself too. Sorry, go ahead. Ian.
Well,
he was the man.
I played with Gretz, so I learned a lot. Gretzky, Curry, coffee, talk. I mean, the start, Larry Robinson. In LA, I was Guy Lafleur, Marcel Dion to start. So I had the opportunity as a young player, Brian Leach, to learn from Hall of Fame guys that think the game a whole different level than me and Eric did. Me and Eric got the puck, we dumped it in, we were physical, we went to the net hard, we crashed and banged. The process on how they go through how they think the game is totally different than Eric and I would. So you have to learn from them. Look at Joe Sakic and Forsberg. I mean, those two superstar Hall of Famers, those were two special players that I learned a whole heck of a lot from as well.
I love it.
You
Bruto,
both played with Gretz. I won't compare your careers. I won't do that to you.
But still, we won't compare Tony on the ice. We won't compare Tony and I on the ice. He's way above me, guys, just so you know. But it's okay. I was a pigeon. Tony was a good player. It's all good. But I got a question for you. I've been advocating for 2 years now. I'm just pushing hard for it. Rudo's going to start laughing. I come from an era back then that we had 2 power plays. I don't care if it was Sakic, Forsberg, and there was a little bit of a competition element, right? And it's like, hey, you got a minute to go figure it out. I hate the fact that the Avalanche have the same guys there for 2 minutes. So basically that leaves a lot of nights like Natushkin or Druin or Lekina, guys like that are so good. They don't even get a sniff on the power play. And that it can affect your stats. And then we complain after that, oh, my God, he's got no production. Well, no crap. He doesn't get on the power play. It's hard to produce if you're not getting on the power play. So I've been advocating for 2 years. They got to go to 2 power plays. I don't care that McKinnon is McKinnon. I don't care Makar is Makar. There's enough people there because I do believe it cost them the series. And, I want to know your thoughts about that. There's only one puck. There's only 2 minutes. And I know, but when you have a bunch of star players, I do believe you can split it up. Maybe not.
If I'm building a team, I'm building it with 2 power plays. No question. And here's the other
That's my
reason.
guy.
But here's the reason why. Because you need those other players on the bench. So you got 4 forwards on the ice for your first power play unit. That means, you got 8 forwards sitting on the bench, trying to figure out, okay, when am I going out there? It disrupts the total flow and chemistry of your 5-on-5 play that's going to follow that power play. So I think there's situations, if there's a whistle at the right time and you don't have to break the puck out 3 times and you're stuck in the zone for 1:30, you can stretch it. But I do think I make it. You got 2 breakouts. If they dump it the 3rd time, you're off, no matter who you are. Because the other thing that players get into they get so frustrated when the other team kills a play and they ice it down and they got to go back on their breakout. That once they get into the zone, that next time they rush everything to think that they got to score as soon as they get in the zone because they've already wasted 2, in zone opportunities. So I do, Eric. Think that that's certainly worth a discussion. But again, it has to go back to the relationship between the coach and those players. So I'll give you an example, and I probably shouldn't share this, but I will because it's a long time ago now. So Sidney Crosby, when I first got to Pitt, I was in charge of the PK. And Sid had killed penalties the year before, and he loved being on the ice all the time. I get that. That's the competitiveness he has. He wants to be out there making sure the other team doesn't score. And Dan Balsma and I and Todd Reardon as coaches, we were discussing the strategy during the year and who we gonna use for killers and how we gonna break up ice time and all of this. And I said, guys, I think we're better off without Sid on the PK. And as we had these discussions, and here's why. First of all, when you're teaching penalty kill, you're teaching guys to have to block shots. Eric, when you killed penalty, were you asked to block shots? That's a big part of the penalty Dylan is being brave enough to stand in front of a shot. I don't want Sidney Crosby blocking a shot and breaking his ankle or wrist because, I got him on the PK. We had Craig Adams, we had Dupuis, we had plenty of guys that could have filled that role and responsibility. And probably what it does do to Sid is it gives him the time, and this again was a lot of convincing, a lot of talking to him, is Sid, we're going to play you 23, 24 minutes tonight. Why would we want to waste 3 minutes of you playing 4-on-5? Wouldn't you rather be fresher 5-on-4 and 5-on-5? Wouldn't you rather be out there on the ice against the other team's, line after their skilled guys go off the ice or their top pair of D go off the ice? This gives us more flexibility as coaches to put you in a situation where you can be more productive, more energized, and more fresh as the game goes along if we take away, 3 or 4 minutes of PK per game. And you know what? He was right. Why not? Why would I? Yeah, okay, I'm all for it. And you know what? We used them for big face-offs on the PK, or if there was, say there was a power play for the other team with a minute to go in the period, and he hadn't been on the ice for a couple minutes, we're not going to let him sit the last 3 minutes of the period on the bench. Go kill the last 30 seconds of the period and get yourself ready for the next period. So there were opportunities we would sneak him in there to keep him fresh and on his toes. But for the most part, he didn't kill penalties for us those 5 years, and I think it helped him. So that's my feeling on it, and I don't even know what the question was, guys. So hope I answered. But it goes back to the discussion that you have with players. So you got to have them understand. You have to tell them why, and you have to give them that why it's going to be better for you. Most players, when you give them a new assignment, the first thing they think of, okay, is this helping me or hurting me? They all think the same thing. You're going to play with this guy tonight. Well, am I going to get more scoring chances or less? That's the first thing they think of. But if you can give them a reason to think that it's going to help them, guess what? They're going to buy into it, and it's going to be a lot easier to make that transition of that change.
Yeah, it's a great example.
Love it.
We in Colorado run into Nathan McKinnon playing 27, 28 minutes a night, and you start to wonder at what point does that the legs get tired and his game starts to degrade for sure. So McKinnon doesn't PK, but you do have to find ways to pick your spots with some of your best players. Absolutely. It makes perfect sense on that front. He obviously coached the Avs, coached some incredible players here, played with some incredible players. You also had a long coaching stint in the NCAA with Wisconsin, played there too. I'm curious your thoughts on how the NCAA has evolved as a hockey league, especially in more recent years. Now we're seeing, wide sweeping rule changes. We're seeing the allowance of CHL players are going to start coming in. We see a lot of, call them one and done NCAA kids, whatever you want to call them, that kind of spend 1 year before graduating pro. How does that function in the NCAA now, as opposed to back when you were playing? Even you spent all 4 years at Wisconsin before jumping in. Is it just much faster paced, or how do you manage that NHL pipeline?
Well, I think the understanding of it, that the game has changed from the standpoint that it's not an amateur game anymore. I mean, the NIL money around, the reporter being available to any player, where you can not only can you transfer 1 year, if you don't like the place you went to, you could transfer at Christmas of the next year. Like it's really not the healthiest culture, environment, development part, with all of these secondary rules that are put in place that give the player more outs. I think one of the greatest things about being an athlete is, and the greatest part of your development is dealing with hard things. And dealing with hard things would be like, gosh darn it, I'm playing on the third line and I think I'm better. Instead of walking in and telling the coach you're transferring, you go on the ice and practice, and you run through it, and you figure out how to make the coach like you to play more, or you do more of what he's telling you. And I think this stuff gives a lot of, weakness or opportunities for guys to become soft and weak and think that, there's always something better and different. I don't really have to grind through this. So I hate that part of it. The part I like is that the college game continues to develop great players. I mean, Eric, you and I talked about Macklin Celebrini. We played with Max there and what he meant, and you had Hudson, and you've got all these other guys that come through as young stars, and they choose to go the college route instead of the junior route. And it's a great game. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. College hockey is continuing to get better. And now with this ability for the Canadians to play in their league and then come over and play college at a different point, I just think you're going to see the game continue to get better. I don't like the fact that now as an 18-year-old kid, when you graduate high school, you're probably going to have to play 2 years before you come to college. So you're going to start your college academics. You're going to have 2 years in between. You're going to have 2 gap years now for most of the kids, because very rarely are you coming in as a true freshman into a college program. So there's some good that is being seen on the college part as far as the production goes of the development of the players. But I still think there are some concerns about how do we get this portal thing straightened back out? How do we figure out NIL thing and how not to destroy some of these kids and make them chase money? I think there's a lot of things that need to be adjusted. Again, college, when you think of college, what is it? You're thinking about education and teaching young individuals how to grow up and learn from the situation, so when they get to be adults, they can teach younger kids what they learned. And I think we're forgetting that part of it with all of the stuff that we're throwing at them that is uncontrollable. And really it's controlled by the agents in lots of situations. And I don't particularly like where the game is, so to speak, with the 2 situations I just talked about, the NLI and the transfer portal. I'm fine with the Canadian junior guys coming across. I think that's fair game. As long as they're good students and they can handle the workload and whatever, it makes college hockey better and it becomes more competitive.
There you go. I know E probably has some more questions for NCAA stuff, but we do need to pay a couple more bills first. So let's make sure we're hitting that, and then we'll get back to it. As we are, of course, brought to you by the folks over at Empire Today. If you are building up a good foundation, just like college kids got to make sure they have their academics, you got to make sure you have the right floors in your house. You can get $350 off your new floors over at EmpireToday.com when you use the DNVR code. Make sure you're getting with them. They have it all, whether it's tile, hardwood, carpet. They've got you covered at Empire Today. They only carry the best products. They're super professionals about everything. If you want different ways to look at flooring, they've got that too. You can go online. You can use their tools there to measure out your room and see what floors look like in that space. You can get a free in-home estimate. They'll send somebody out. They'll bring swatches of floors that you can look at in your space with your furniture. Or, of course, you can always call the number. So either way, Empire Today has you covered with your new floors, wherever, whenever. Make sure you get with them. Schedule that free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can get that $350 discount with the DNVR code, or you can head over to EmpireToday.com/DNVR to get that $350 discount. Of course, restrictions apply there. You can visit EmpireToday.com/DNVR today for full details, or, of course, call 1-800-588-2300 Empire. Once you got your new floors installed and good to go, it's time to kick back, relax, and choose chill. The hot weather is finally here. It's still rainy. I don't know. It keeps raining in Denver, but weather getting warm. It's definitely hot out when you step outside in the afternoons and evenings these days. So make sure you're choosing chill with Coors Light, whether you're grilling out back, maybe you're cracking a beer while you're mowing the lawn, or maybe you're sitting in. Maybe you're just chilling and relaxing and watching the Cup final. You can have a Coors Light in your hand when you do it. If you are heading out, they're available in pretty much every liquor store in the country, but the coolest way to do it is to go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR, and thanks to Instacart, you can get Coors Light delivered right to your front door. Choose and chill. That's the best way to do it, with the Blue Mountains on the bottle or the can. Make sure you jump in with them. Make the most of the times you choose to chill, and choose Coors Light. You can get that Coors Light delivered again right to your front door, thanks to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Please celebrate responsibly. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. E, I know you've been through the college ranks a lot. I'm sure you have plenty of input with Max going through the BU system and all of that. So,
Well, you're right. I mean, I wanted to touch on. I know. Thanks for your time, Tony, and we're keeping you a little longer than we had expected.
It's
So,
okay.
My bad.
So
it,
there's a lake right out there that I'm going fishing in when we're done. So I'll send you pictures of the fish I
oh,
catch.
it's again, just so you guys know, it's beautiful. If you've never been to Wisconsin, my Lord, get down there. It is beautiful because I was blown away, and I still tell people all the time. I was like, I can't believe I've never been there. And then I came back. I'm like, man, this place is beautiful. But with that said, I know some people in chat are asking. We're glad you're feeling great. That's first and foremost the most important thing. And
Thank
you
you.
look great, by you. But then it makes you look, and it's like it's amazing the route and the versatility that you've had over your career, which is amazing. Because when you talk about it right now, you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. From coaching to the Olympics to playing in the finals to college hockey to, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's when you think about it, you look back, like you said, losing in the finals. Yeah, you look back, you're proud of it. Then I hope you're proud of your, the route that you've taken so far in your life with the NHL. It's pretty amazing, and obviously not just the NHL, but hockey. And then I get it now. I get what you were talking about a little bit with the college game. I mean, Jill and I, we get to see those kids every weekend come here. And by the way, you better take care. Hopefully he makes the Blackhawks. Ryan Green, he's a great friend of
I
ours.
will.
Awesome. Yeah, you take care of them. But those kids are here on Sundays, and the Eisermans and Hudsons, and it's so fun. It is so fun. Like, I get it why you had fun coaching college after, we've had our own kids. Tony's got 4 kids too. So it's crazy how it makes you young again. It makes me young again. I don't even coach college hockey, but just having Max around and the kids come over. So I remember you telling me that you were enjoying the college game just because of, it's fun. They're young. They're sponges. They want to learn. So it kind of makes me feel better. And then they want to know stories, and I tell stories, and then I take over sometimes dinner a little bit, but it's fine. But I just wanted to tell you that we're happy you're doing well, and then
Thank you.
many, many years ahead still in hockey. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think that's the biggest thing, and I've had my challenges with some different injuries and some illnesses, but it always comes back to the same thing when you're down and beat up. Like Eric, I'm looking at you. So first day I got cancer. Who do I get a text from? Oh, it's Eric. It's your teammate, your buddies that you went to battle with on the ice. That relationships you have as teammates and players, though, doesn't go away just because I'm, in Wisconsin and you're in Colorado or out east in Boston, or I mean, we can go down our list of former teammates where you can call them today, and they would act as if you were still teammates in whatever your needs might be, and that's what's special about our game. That a lot of people that haven't played the game of hockey, you look at some of the things we say and you're like, it can't be really like that. Well, it is. It is. If you're a teammate with the Los Angeles Kings in the early 90s, you're a teammate in 2025 of those same guys. It's just the way hockey is, and that's why it's so special. That's why the people that are in it never want to leave it. We're in the game. We're staying in it in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to brag about it, and we're going to be proud of it, and we're going to enjoy the hockey that's played on the ice, but more so the relationships and all the things that go along with being part of the hockey family.
Well said. Well said.
Love it. Tony,
Are we going to overtime yet, like the game might tonight, or are we still?
No.
We're good. You're about to get out of here. You survived with the buzzer beater.
You
on
go
that,
fish.
on that anchor.
Yeah. Send us a picture.
You.
Send us a picture. Send us a picture. We're gonna put it on the chat there, and then
what kind of
we'll
picture?
See if you're an avid fisher of the fish that you gotta
Better
get.
be a big one. Better
I
be a
gotta
big
go
one.
get my picture on. Yeah, I'll find a big one.
Let's go.
I can do
that. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course, you guys enjoy the game tonight, and going back to that coach, thing for the Avs. I mean, you look at the free agency list coming up. You look at guys you got to try to sign to make sure you don't lose players. That piece right there is really important to the Avs. I mean, you can just, it's just a coach. The players are on the ice, the ones that win it. No, you need somebody back there that understands, that Coach Bednar understands what his responsibilities are going to be coming in. And you got a really good chance for your team to improve, because if he brings something special to the group and is able to, what you guys were talking about, maybe convince, Nate to only playing a minute 20 on each power play. If that works and he's fresher at the end of the year and he's fresher as the game goes along, then he made a huge contribution to your organization, to your team, and to Nate's future success. So that's kind of cool. I'll look forward to watching that. I got a few ideas. I'm not going to say who they would be for good assistants that are still out there, but I'll be watching.
All right, keeping the answers close to the chest. Tony, thank you again. If
Thanks,
there's anything
guys.
else, enjoy the lake. Hopefully the fish are biting today. We appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Tony Granato, incredible guest, as AJ replaces him immediately.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah, you're not going to live up to that one. Sorry, bud. I wanted to pivot a little bit, although I do appreciate the Granato talk. I have no idea who the Avs assistant coach is going to be, so maybe go ask him. He's got the answers on that one. But obviously, he's a huge hockey family. The Granato family has been involved in hockey top to bottom, multiple generations, forever. It's awesome. Obviously, your family the same way. I wanted to move on and have a bigger conversation that I've been seeing around the hockey world for a little bit here. Look, we all know hockey is extremely expensive to play. It always has been. There are some limitations there that just make it expensive because of the gear, because you need ice. There are stuff that hockey runs into that it just kind of can't solve. But we've seen, maybe this is my bias, so let me just ask you, are we starting to see the price of becoming a hockey fan start to become a problem too? And I know it was a while ago, but you played in two of the most expensive cities that hockey, well, three really of the most expensive cities that hockey exists in. Toronto, where you need to be on a 40-year waiting list to get season tickets. LA and New York, who are two of the biggest cities that have hockey and are just generally expensive. One, is it too expensive to be a fan? Two, is there anything you can do to solve it?
Man, I don't know how you solve it. It's gotten to be so expensive to go to games, and the salaries keep going up. And there's no secret in hockey. Like, your gate revenue is your blood. I mean, it just is. It's a little different than other sports. Our TV deals are not as lucrative as other sports. Therefore, your gate has to be important. You have to be sold out. You have to be, the corporate dollar has to be coming in as well. But yeah, it's becoming a little bit crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. Like you said, Toronto, it's absurd. It's in Canadian dollars or whatever it is, but it's still crazy. And it's the parking, and it's the $8 soda, and it's the $12 hot dog. And I mean, it's you go there as a family of four. Like, I'm 5. It's an expensive night. You know what I mean? It's an expensive night for 2 people. You know what I mean? So I don't know how you can fix it, honestly. I think a lot of people, what you see now is they share season tickets. You know what I mean? And which is kind of stinks, because you don't get to go to every game if you're trying to go to every game. That's one way to do it. I think social media makes it more affordable to be a fan, so to speak, to be still connected. And remember back then there was no highlights, and not a lot. Now it's the Instagram generation. You see every highlight on Instagram and all the social media networks. I mean, TikTok. I don't know. I'm not good with this stuff. You guys know that, but I think that at least you get to be and feel it. You could be in Europe. You could be anywhere. You can still be feeling part of it. But yeah, I don't know how you can. It's never going to go back down the other way. It's not. And then people want less games, and that's never going to happen, because you take less games, then the tickets are going to be even more expensive for the one game I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It's almost becoming a little too crazy, and I get it why people are, again, getting away from their season tickets and pairing up with another, couple or two couples or co-workers or whatever you want to call that. So yeah, it's a little crazy. And you're right. Some markets more than others, and some markets more affordable than others. Again, it all depends on, do they own the building? Do they, all that kind of stuff, right? So there's a lot, and that's what I'm not good at, math, and but a lot goes into it.
It's there are some parts of it I get, like, when your team's better, the price goes up. That type of thing happens. It's in the mid 2010s, you could get Avs tickets for $5 if you're in the cheap seats, and nowadays those seats have another zero added onto them, basically. But in Colorado is not at all one of the most expensive arenas to get into when it comes to around the hockey universe. It's some of those Canadian markets, it feels like the cheapest ticket in the building is a couple $100. So it's tough to answer on that side of it, and it's tough to answer on the TV side of it. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I thought it was interesting too, because like you said, with the Canadian markets, it is so expensive to get to those games, and you see people complain about how there's only people in suit and ties at those kinds of games. So yeah, it is kind of just like a really crappy, like, no, there's not fans here. There's not people that actually care about the sport here.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
It's a very corporate at times, for sure, because who can afford the tickets? Corporations. Makes sense. It sucks. There's no two ways around that. But I think it's made worse by the current television situation, right? Because we've kind of drifted beyond the golden era of, okay, hockey is readily available and broadcast to everyone. And I'm not saying that I miss NBC Sports. It had plenty of its own issues when it comes to its broadcasts. I'm not saying that. But if you're trying to follow things, you now need either TNT or HBO Max, a way to watch ESPN, a way to watch ESPN Plus, and you also need a way to watch your local sports team, which, depending on where you are, could vary from one service to 3 services, depending on how they put their games out there. It's since the advent of high-speed internet, it's kind of never been harder to find your team's games consistently, even if finding any one given game is easier than ever.
Honestly, blackout restrictions just should not be a thing that are allowed to happen.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Huge problem across the entire sports spectrum is blackout restrictions are
a joke.
Just the worst thing. Like, you can understand why they're in place, but they suck for everybody involved. They're awful.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that you can't watch your teams in your local area because I won't go down the rabbit hole of content on the internet. I'll just avoid that for my own sanity. How about that? Okay.
It's a very August conversation.
Yeah, it's still June. We're a little too early for that. I do want to transition a little bit, talk a little bit of Avs hockey. Not my favorite move potentially, but the rumor mill is the rumor mill, and it's out there that supposedly Jonathan Toews is deciding between Winnipeg and Colorado.
Yep.
Take me down this path, guys. Where does Jonathan Toews make sense in the Avs lineup at this point? Because they feel like their centers are decided now.
Yeah, so I've kind of been working on this a little bit over the last, 4 or 5 days. And it just continues to seem to me like Winnipeg makes all the sense. He's the local kid. It's where he's from. His family has a big presence there. But also, like, look at the competitive teams out west and who needs centers. Like, Winnipeg needs them more than anybody. Vlad Nemesnikov was their guy last year. And then Adam Lowry's hurt going into the start of next year. Like, they need the center depth. That the job is going to be the most prevalent in Winnipeg. But there's a reason that the Avs continue to hang around here. And part of this is that you can look at that roster and you go, like, we look at the roster and we go, hey, this needs a little bit of work. But from the outside, everybody else looks at this roster and is saying, this is a really good team. This is a deep team. This is a big team. This is a fast team. There's a lot of skill here. And Jonathan Taves is looking at it, and it's not hard to see what the appeal would be. If he's the third line center, Charlie Coyle just slides on over and replaces Kiviranta on the wing. And then you have a third line of Colton, Taves, and Coyle, three guys that could play center for you at any given time, three guys that could play wing for you at any given time. They could just be like, that's the job. And I think you would start with that instead of aggressively moving Coyle, which you could do if you wanted, but you don't know what Jonathan Taves is as a player right now. You don't know how good he is. Why be in a hurry to make that move? The only reason is that Charlie Coyle would then be a $5 million right wing for you on your third line, and has a lot of value. Yeah, he would have a lot of value around the league because of his ability to play center for you. That's the, your roster math becomes a lot easier, or trying to fix your salary cap crunch becomes a lot easier. And with Taves, because of his age, you could give him a bonus laden contract where you're giving him performance incentives that can go against the cap next year.
It's just hard to trust a guy who hasn't played hockey in 2 full seasons. So you can't just full YOLO it, but you also don't want to sit here and say, well, we're paying our third line wings over $9 million. So it feels like you can't do one, but you can't really do the other. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, E.
No. I totally agree with you. That's where a couple things here. I do agree with Ian right there. He says if we get Taves, Coyle seems very tradable. For me, that's the path you take, and I've been saying this for a few weeks now. The $4 to $5 million player, one of them's going. Maybe stretch it. What's Coyle 5'5"? So you're stretching into maybe whatever. So maybe I'm squeezing him into that part there. And I love Charlie Coyle. You guys know that. I love him. I still do. I think, first of all, 31 teams will take him. My part is you better be right, and you better do some research, and you better be in Phoenix or wherever he's skating right now, Taves, and you better be talking to him. There's 2 parts to that. Where's he at? Where's his head at? Where's his body at? Avalanche related, you see Forsberg, Landeskog do it after 3 years, then it gives you hope, right, for him. It probably gives Taves hope, right, because it's like, man, I've not even been that long for me. You know what I mean? And so there is hope there. Now, do I think that's doable? I do believe, like Ian, if you're going down that route, then it's because Charlie's fetching you the most return, and that's the money you're going to use to go get whatever it is that you're needing. You know what I mean? Is it, again, we talked about a draft capital that you also flip after and go get something else? I'm not sure. And it gives you space with the 5.3, right? So, because Taves will not be near that stuff. But then again, it's a risky move. You don't know. The guy hasn't played, Again, I don't know. I'm saying that those are tricky questions, So it's a tricky.
That's the hard part, though. Because if Taves comes in and he can't play, and you just traded Charlie Coyle away, then you're right back into, okay, well, now we need a third line center again because Taves can't play, and we got rid of Charlie Coyle. Like, you don't want to be there.
It's the one thing I will say in Taves' defense that if he comes back and it doesn't work and he just can't play, it is what it is. But there are some markers in his career that you expect that even if it doesn't go well, maybe you could find some value in. Okay, he's a really good faceoff guy. He can take faceoffs for you that are important. He's penalty killed a lot in his career. Maybe you can shoot him out there for a bit of penalty kill time, especially in the first couple of months of the season when you're going to be without a Logan O'Connor. You can see where there's a floor here that, assuming he can function, there are ways he can be effective on your team. But it's impossible to say what the gap between him and a Charlie Coyle is right now because we just have no idea what Jonathan Toews is going to look like when he gets back on the ice.
Yeah.
Don't be confused.
I know.
And
Both Toews would be tough.
Good luck, Mark Mosher. But I mean, I think that slotting him in at center, I mean, if he was always a great faceoff guy, though, and you do put him on your PK, all of a sudden that becomes a huge strength for you with Toews and Jack Drury.
Yep.
The downside being they're both left-handed, and so that one little min-max area, okay, well, that's where you keep Charlie Coyle, right? Like, if because Toews coming to Colorado would only be on a cheap contract, and I would assume an incentive one, an incentives-based one that would pay him out over the summer, assuming he plays well. And Winnipeg can do a little bit different. They can just give him the money up front and say, here, hometown hero stuff, But I'm just not. I'm not even opposed to the idea, but I almost just want to get greedy with it because centers are so valuable and there's such a dearth of them available this summer, that if you had a third line
Scoop them
comprised
up
of
and
three
auction
guys,
them off.
like you have three guys, like, hey, if Jonathan Toews can still play, if you get to December and Toews can play and he's good for you and is rock solid, and you kept Charlie Coyle, teams are going to still need that guy. Just don't trade him to out west to a contender. Don't put him right in your own way. But there are going to be teams that still need that help down the middle, and that becomes your main piece for trying to improve your defense at the deadline.
AJ enacting the Team Canada method. Oops, all centers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have that opportunity.
Yeah,
So,
if it works, it works. I'm not going to knock it. Don't trade him to Carolina either, though, because he'll end up back in the Central.
Yeah, you could also envision a world where Coyle and Toews are your 3 and 4 Cs, and Jack Drury just slides over to wing while Logan O'Connor is injured, and that's your test case. That's your test case of can Toews still play, and you're figuring that out while Drury is the guy that slides over. So that's
it.
I don't think there's a huge need to move Coyle, but if you get Toews and you decide to do it, it's going to be, like Eric said, it's going to be because somebody came to you and said, hey, we're giving you like a late first round pick. We're giving you like a defenseman that you really think can help you. It would hopefully be for a defenseman with some jam that would help out on that third pairing, and you could balance that money a little better.
To me, it's a lot more about the money. Like Lane has said in chat, Coyle's stronger, younger, and has more potential for healthy play. I agree, but if you get Devon Toews for $900K and you can save about $4.5 million by moving on from Charlie Coyle for a close-ish caliber of player, if it turns out Toews still does have it in the bag, then yeah, guess what? That's the difference between maybe being able to afford a Gavrikov as that extra D-man instead of a Troy Stetcher. Like, I don't know. It could be a big difference in a different spot in your lineup if you save that money.
Well, and then what you would do is you could move on from Josh Manson if you were serious about chasing a guy like a Gavrikov. You stack those savings, and then you end up getting a Gavrikov. He's on your second pairing, and then you put Mike Riley on your third pairing as your cost-efficient cheap guy. And you're like, okay, well, this is what you did with those savings. Between the savings you got from, Toews and Gavrikov in, Coyle and Manson out, and your money is just balanced a lot better throughout that, and you have a higher end. You end up with a higher end player in a higher impact role than what you did before.
Yeah, it's balanced. We are headed into overtime in just a minute here. I don't think we'll go too long today, but it's interesting. I guess I want your thoughts. When you look at someone like a Toews, someone who is very good in the face-off dot, does it change how you play as a winger next to him? Are there different setups that you can run because of that, or is this just a minor thing? Obviously, possession helps, but it doesn't really affect how you set up when you get on the ice.
No, but it sure is nice when your centerman wins draws because you can see the guys, they got their their gloves in the face. You can see the cameras on them, offensive zone face off. They always again, the guys that are engaged, most guys are usually engaged. If you're playing in the NHL, you're engaged. But it's funny because you can do all the trick plays you want or the, set face off plays, but if you can't win a face off, not going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice. It's nice when you have a guy that is going to win them, and you're like, okay. And then and it's funny because set plays we don't have a lot of set plays like football, right? There's no playbook. There's tendencies. There's because like in football, the ball drops and there's a whistle and you start over again. You huddle up and you do it again. Well, a face-off is the only time that in hockey it's kind of like that for a little bit. And if you do win it clean, well, it can be what you're saying for the next 10 seconds, of what you're planning because you have the possession, until there's a bad play or a bad pass or a stick in the lane. Then it's like, start over again. But, So it's important to win draws. It's an important aspect of the game. And that's why some guys, they score 3-4 goals a year and they still play in the NHL because they're good at draws and they're good at one thing. You got to be good at one thing. A guy like Taves would come up with those things. He would help with those things. And, not that the other guys aren't capable, but at some point, if that's what you bring, Guy Carbonneau, Hall of Famer now, you look at the end of his career, like last season or two, honestly, I think he took face-offs and Guy just went to the bench like a lacrosse player. Yeah, just take face-offs and get off the ice. You know what I mean? Because it's a big part of the game. And the worst thing you want to do as a winger, because we all know your shifts are about 30, 40, 45 seconds, you're gone. The last thing you want to do is chase the puck. It's not fun. You know what I mean? It's just not. I don't care. I always tell parents, kids are 5, 6, 7 years old and they play out of position, meaning they play against teams that are too good. All they end up doing all weekend is chasing the puck. It's not fun. They come home, they're like, I want to quit. Well, no crap. Because what fun is that? What fun is chasing a puck? It's not fun at all. So, yeah, it's an important part of the game. It's an important aspect of a guy that can bring something. And it's an important part of your offense. Because every time you have O-zone, face-offs, and then you end up out of the zone with nothing, well, it starts with the face-off. That was a big part of the reason why you got nothing.
I would argue it's more important to have a good. It's more important defensively because then you get the puck and you get it out of your zone, and then whatever's happening happens.
Exactly.
But we're talking about a guy that a 57.3% career win rate in faceoffs has been a very good faceoff guy his entire career. Someone in chat mentioned it, 63% the last time that he played. Jonathan Taves wasn't very good at a lot when he was last in the NHL, but faceoffs he was better than ever. So if he can come in and do that, and honestly, if he can just be healthy enough, that's I remember. I know we've talked about the last couple of years of his career. He didn't look very good, but you have to remember all the health problems that he was battling.
Yeah.
That's why he stepped away. And it wasn't, he missed an entire season in the middle of all that. He came back, he missed a season, he played 2 more years, and then was like, I can't do this. And now it's different. Yeah, now he's feeling better. He's feeling healthy. If he is actually healthy, I'm not pretending that they're going to get a 30-goal guy or an 80-point player or anything. If he could just come in here and be a 12-goal guy and a 25-point player, but he wins a lot of faceoffs and he's good defensively, Yahtzee.
Yep.
It's a massive win, and it's a win for them twofold because he would play well for them, and he would keep them out of Winnipeg, which means that they're still chasing center upgrades. So anytime you can do that, anytime you can continue to hurt your direct competition in division, great.
Yep. It double win. You take them both for that one. I do want to shout out Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, really quick. They are our partner for this Spirit Week thing. It's why we were able to get Tony Granato on the show. So shout out them. They're super awesome. We're currently doing a fundraiser with them. You can see it on the side of the video, or if not, it's down on the links in the description of the video. We're trying to raise $10,000 for a great cause. I think we raised about $1,500 yesterday. So it's a good start, but we want to keep it going here. We want to make sure we're getting in with a
Dallas is beating us. Get it together, people.
There you go. We got to do better than Dallas. That's, we got to show them who's boss a little bit around here. Got to do something about it. You can get with them. You can always go to bbbsa.org as well. So I think /DNVR. I think that's a thing. If not, just bbbsa.org. To go over there, you can become a big if that's your thing. Highly recommend. They're a great organization. We have multiple people here at ALLCITY, I guess. I don't think anyone's at DNVR, but at ALLCITY, multiple people that have been bigs before. And it's just an awesome cause and a great thing to be doing, and highly recommend. They're one of our close partners now. So go check them out. Support them. Support us. It's a good time all the way around. Any final thoughts, boys? Anything we wanted to touch on before we get out of here? No?
I mean,
Fun show.
For the record, I still think Taves lands in Winnipeg.
Sure. The perfect land.
And see.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you got the important part out. He's going home. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I guess we're going to wrap it up. Who knows? Tomorrow we may be talking about the Stanley Cup champions, or maybe it's forcing a Game 7. I don't know. It's Musical Chairs Day tomorrow for Spirit Week. So who knows who will show up on the show. We appreciate y'all. We're out of here for the day. This has been the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, and we will talk to you on the morrow.
We all silly like the mayor.